sitting and staring out the rain-drenched window in a decidedly colder Johannesburg than it ought to be. My mind drifts towards the sun-kissed Mediterranean seaside village and the bright colors of Pilot's Iroshizuku summer inks. Not an official selection, but one of mine. Why a selection of colors from the land of the rising sun and not from Europe? To which I say, why not? After all, rules are meant to be broken. Summer shading inks are often thought of as too bright, too loud, or visually hard to see. But is this really the case? Here on the Honest Nib, I endeavored to prove that these inks can be very usable and fun. These are my summer inks. There are many such inks, but these are my summer musings. Sit back and relax and enjoy my virtual tour of an imagined Mediterranean seaside village. Entering the harbour, a bright yellow to orange piece of fabric dances in the warm seaside breeze. Its vibrant colour catches my eye and immediately puts me in mind of Pilot's Toro ink. Swatching on Toma River M9, the full vibrancy dances on the page. Shading is visible in the heavier ink applications, much like the pleats in a flowing dress. Now let the writing sample speak for itself. Continuing my walk down the cobbled street, I stop at a bright pink door. The color jumps out at me. Pilot's Kosamosu, young and free, comes to mind, a far cry from the rain-drenched Johannesburg and snow on the high grounds. Now I've heard it said, and I've said it before, and I was wrong, that this color is too light. Yes, in some circumstances it may be so, but in a summer vibrancy it works well. And in the writing sample, there is shading. There is a little bit of variation in color and in darkness. And this makes this ink exceptional for summer. Loitering no longer in front of this pink door, I wander further down the path and come to a window planter. The box in a moss green color stops me next. Pilot's Chiku-rin, or bamboo forest. Perhaps the colors, the way of remembering the trip that the owner had to the land of the rising sun. It's light yellow leaning spring green inspired by young bamboo. The shading is far more visible here. There is no sheening, there is no shimmering. But what there is easy to read, is vibrant, is fresh, and speaks of life. A pretty woman approaches in a flowing dress, as dripped in a bottle of Pilot's Murasaki-shikibu, or the Japanese beauty berry, a fitting name and color. This is a confident, vibrant color, no shrinking violet or pastel hue. There is shading in the thicker pulled areas, giving this color life and movement even upon the page as it dries. This is a confident ink, and one would need to be confident to pull this off. There is some shading variation in the ink, not a great deal, but there is some to be seen, especially with this 1.1 millimeter nib. And finally stopping to sit and look over the turquoise blue ocean and reflect on my imaginings, one final blue color comes to mind. Pilot's Ama-iro floats to the surface. In the distance, many weary travelers arrive to also see these summer colors. the shimmering ocean, the movement of the sea, and the beauty of the landscape reminds me a lot of this color. This is a bright, vibrant blue, a fresh blue, a blue of new beginnings, not a cold, harsh, dark blue. However, there is some darker shading that can be seen in the thicker pulled areas, and even a little bit of sheening, red sheening around the edges, which gives this color life and movement upon the page in something a little different. Perhaps summer evening's rainfall, a little bit of lightning perhaps dancing across the sky. There is some shading in the writing. There is no sheening that can be seen, but this blue is very legible and very fresh. And I return back to my thoughts and my musings. They have arrived, folks. 3 pens and an ink for 250 Rand or 15 US dollars. In the next video, I will be doing a full in-depth review and will add them to my weekly rotation. So no juicy double broads, no white star cap pens, and no blood-sucking author-inspired classic pens. A real week-long test drive. Will they pass the test, dry on me when called upon, or outshine others costing 1,000 times more in the case of Montblanc's 100 Years Coral? Full review on the Honest Nib. Honest, unbiased reviews, always without fear or attachment to sponsorship or funding.